don't touch my butt, okay? Hands off my booty. Hey my treasures, it's Sirena and I'm back with another video. I am outside again because it is absolutely beautiful out here, and the last time I was out here, I know that I made a video with really terrible audio quality. I forgot to mention that in my last video, so I just wanted to take a minute and say I'm so sorry. I'm usually really anal about audio quality, and I was listening to some of my previous videos and I was like, this volume could be better. So in that video, I went into iMovie and I just messed around with volume, but everything sounds louder once the movie has been edited and put together, and I didn't realize it was going to be that loud with audio clipping all over the place. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to mess with volume again. This is my very first storytime video. It's not a long one, and as you can probably gauge from the title, it's a bit of a doozy. Yes, that title right there, it happened. So without further ado, let's just get into it. This happened about a year ago in November. Before I get into it, let me just tell you about how my daughter's route to school works. There are two main crossings, and there are crossing guards stationed at each crossing. Both crosswalks sort of angle weird. They angle out into the middle of the intersection, but it's generally not a problem for me, you know, except when it is, like in this video. So I get across the first crossing just fine. I'm going to pick her up at this point. And on the second crossing, there's a crossing guard who's not our original crossing guard, who wasn't our original crossing guard, since this actually happened last year, and all the guards have changed since then because it has been about a year. So there was a temporary crossing guard stationed at the second crosswalk, and I'm walking down the sidewalk, and it had been raining, so it was darker than I'm usually comfortable with. I'm not very comfortable in super bright or super dark, so I like that middle ground, and it was a little darker than that middle ground that I prefer, but I was still just doing fine. It wasn't really affecting visibility. The reason I ended up stumbling into this situation was because I just wasn't paying attention. My mind was like 7 billion miles away, thinking about podcasts at the time, because I was like, I wanted to do YouTube videos, blog posts, and podcasts, not realizing that if I tried to do all of that at once, I'd probably kill myself. I mean, I have to edit my own YouTube videos because I honestly just can't afford to pay to get it done and have YouTube videos edited on the schedule I want to post them. So I end up editing my own YouTube videos, and that takes a lot of time as it is. So that's why I will mention it here, but you guys probably won't see a podcast from me for a long time, if ever, you know, who knows. But anyway, I was 7 billion miles away. My mind was just on this podcast, and I was approaching the second crossing, and as you approach, you kind of have to angle left, because I'm trying to think of how to explain it, but there really isn't a way to explain it. The sidewalk sort of angles left into the crosswalk, or just kind of veers off and turns right and goes all the way down to wherever. I haven't actually walked down there before. So I'm a million miles away. So I start angling left, but I do it too soon. So my right foot hits the edge of the curb, you know, half on, half in the grass, and I go down. Now, I don't go down in a huge dramatic sprawl. I just my ankle sort of twists, and I just sort of go down into a crouch. Now, I had two mothers walking behind me, and one of them leaps forward to grab me. Like a couple minutes late, I'm already down, and I guess that was sweet, but it wasn't really that big a deal because I was just sort of crouched on the edge of the sidewalk, and I just went down and then just pushed myself right back up with my feet. I was fine. I didn't even sprain or twist my ankle. There are sirens. I'm going to wait for them to go by. No respect for the YouTubers. I don't know. Whoever that sounds like, Sounds like an ambulance and a fire truck, so I hope everyone's all right wherever that's going. But anyway, one of the mothers tries to catch me, and that's a little embarrassing because when you fall or when you trip or when you have a moment like this as a blind person, people act like you've just fallen from the Eiffel Tower. More sirens. Oh. I really hope everyone's okay. Yeah, that's pretty loud. Sorry about that. I really hope everybody's okay. When you fall as a blind person, or I wouldn't even consider this a fall. It was just a trip. So when you trip as a blind person, you go down. It doesn't matter how gently you go down. If you're not upright, people act like you've fallen from the Eiffel Tower. There's a lot of, oh my gosh, are you okay? And you just kind of sit there and you're like, wow, guys, I didn't just get shot. I'm okay, really. I mean, kids have worse face plants like every day. Relax. So anyway, I finally get up. The mothers were cool. You know, they did the whole gasp and horror thing, but you know, the crossing guard wants to come running across the road like, are you all right? I was fine. I just explained to them all that things like this just happen when you can't see. So let's skip ahead a little bit. On my way back from picking my daughter up, this is, my daughter is 5 at this time, and the crossing guard, the temporary crossing guard, keeps telling Rosie, keep mommy centered, now keep mommy centered, and that did annoy me a bit because it's not my 5-year-old's job to keep me centered. Okay, it's my job to actually pay attention to my surroundings, and that's what I just wasn't doing. It happens to everybody. Sometimes people are just lost in thought and they goof up a little, so whatever. Let's skip forward to the next day. I'm going to pick her up from school, and we have the same temporary crossing guard who is now waiting for me at the second crossing at the corner. They're usually across the road. No, she crosses the road when she sees me coming so that she can escort me across. I try to explain to her that I am fine. Like, I've been doing this route alone since September, and you know, sometimes blind people just trip. It just happens. But she's like, no, it would make me feel better to help you across. So I'm just like, okay, you know what? I really don't have time to argue with her. I really just have to get my daughter and get home. So I let her escort me across. This isn't the problem. What happens next, guys? This happened, okay? I can sit and laugh about it now, but at the time, okay, let me explain it. She gets me across the road. We're at the tactile strip. I'm getting ready to leave and just cross and go on my merry way, you know, pick up my baby girl from school. And this crossing guard, who I don't know her name, she goes, there you go now, go on. And she pats my bum. Yes, guys, you heard right. She patted me on the butt like I was a toddler and sent me on my way. Go on now. She did that. That happened. Oh my gosh. Why? Lady, what possessed you? In what universe? And by what level of thinking or reasoning or justification is that remotely appropriate? Guys, if you're helping a blind person across the street, you know what? Scratch that. If you're helping anybody across the street, do not pat them on the bum like they're a toddler and send them on their way. Like, I was so shocked. I just sort of stood there like this for a minute. For those of you who can't see, my eyes are super wide, just my mouth is just sort of like hanging open, like I'm having like a wicked moment here.
Did that really just happen?
Yes. Like, Alphaba's got it right. Now, for those of you who have been following me for a long time, you know that I don't like to be touched. Like, I just don't like it. I have my reasons, which I will get into eventually in other videos. I don't like to be touched. I certainly don't like to have my bottom padded. Not only is that seriously triggering for me, it's humiliating, it's patronizing AF, and it should never, ever happen to anybody. If you are an adult, it should not happen to you. If you are a woman, it should not happen to you. If you are someone else's child, it should not happen to you. If you are anything but this person's 2-year-old child, you should not be touching butts. Okay? It's just a common sense thing. Like, you would think people would know this. You would think it would be a common courtesy thing. Just don't touch my butt. Okay? Hands off my booty. Guys, this happened. She patted my bottom and she sent me on my way. Like I was 3. Not okay. Okay? No. So, we're crossing again with my daughter, and she doesn't say anything to Rosie at this point because Rosie just ignored her the previous day anyway. But now I'm super aware of what she sounds like, and I'm like running across the street before she can get to me to try to escort me across, and thank God our original crossing guard came back the next day. But I know I've come across this woman a couple times last year since that happened, and I always, every time I hear her voice, because that's just, her voice is kind of like indelibly seared into my mind now due to this experience, I would just like run across the road before she could get to me. And luckily she never tried to pull this again, but oh my gosh, by the time my shock had cleared up enough, she was already, back in her spot calling to other people. So I couldn't even address this. And again, I just had to get my daughter and I had to get home. This happened. Don't ever do this to a blind person, people, okay? If you are someone who is blind or visually impaired and you have had an experience like this where you're sort of just stuck in a WTF moment, please comment down below. Let me know what your story was like, because this was crazy and it's always stuck with me. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to forget this story because it was just nuts. My treasures, I love you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you do subscribe, ring the little notification bell so you know when I am uploading content. I will see you guys Saturday morning. I love you all. Bye.